The wind whispered through the gnarled branches of the ancient forest as we stood at the edge of the desolate clearing. My heart pounded with both fear and excitement. For this was the night we had been planning for, the night we would investigate the legendary old school deep within these woods. It was a dark and moonless night, the perfect backdrop for our adventure. My two friends, Mark and Lisa, stood beside me, their faces etched with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. The stories about the old school were chilling and had been passed down through generations. Locals whispered about the ghostly apparitions that haunted its halls, the eerie cries that echoed in the dead of night, and the strange disappearances that had occurred over the years. Some said it was cursed, while others believed it was a portal to the spirit world. We had gathered a few tools, a flashlight, a camera, and a handful of candles, and had a plan in case things went awry. As we ventured deeper into the forest, the trees seemed to close in around us, and the air grew colder, thick with a sense of foreboding. Despite my growing unease, I pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. Hours passed as we navigated through the dense underbrush, the rustling leaves and distant animal sounds heightening our anxiety. The forest seemed to stretch on forever, and the eerie silence made it all the more unsettling. Finally, we reached the clearing where the old school stood, its silhouette looming ominously in the darkness. Its windows were shattered, and the roof had collapsed in places, but the decaying structure held an eerie allure. We cautiously approached the entrance, the creaking door swinging open with an agonizing groan as if beckoning us inside. The interior was a macabre tableau of decay and abandonment. Crumbling chalkboards hung in tattered strips, and the once grand auditorium was now a treacherous, rotting death trap. As we explored room after room, the air grew heavier, and the temperature seemed to drop further, sending shivers down our spines. Suddenly, Mark's flashlight flickered and died, plunging us into total darkness. Panic surged through us as we fumbled for our candles, their feeble flames casting eerie shadows on the peeling walls. But when we finally managed to relight Mark's flashlight, Lisa was nowhere to be seen. "Lisa," Mark called out, his voice trembling with fear. We searched the decrepit rooms, but there was no sign of her. Our cries echoed through the old school, but she had vanished without a trace. We realized that we had to get out of there and find help. Mark and I stumbled back through the rotting halls, but every turn seemed to lead us deeper into the labyrinthine nightmare. The old school seemed to twist and shift, defying logic and reason, trapping us in its malevolent grip. As the hours turned into an agonizing night, Mark and I grew more desperate. We could hear faint whispers in the darkness, voices that seemed to beckon us further into the abyss. But we resisted, determined to find our way back to the forest. Weeks turned into months, and we remained trapped in that cursed old school, our sanity slowly slipping away. We never saw Lisa again, and the forest that had once seemed endless now felt like a distant dream. The old school had claimed us as its own, and there was no escape from its malevolent grasp. The passage of time became a blur, as we moved through the old school's endless, shifting corridors, each turn leading us further into the heart of darkness. Our candles grew dim, and the whispers that surrounded us became more insistent, urging us to surrender to the old school's sinister power. In our isolation, we began to see and hear things that defied explanation. Shadowy figures moved in the corners of our vision, and the walls themselves seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Mark and I could no longer trust our own senses, and the line between reality and nightmare blurred. We became consumed by the need to uncover the secrets of the old school, to understand the forces that held us captive. But the old school's mysteries only deepened as we delved deeper into its dark heart. It was as if the building itself was a living entity, taunting us, toying with our minds. One night, as we wandered through the old school's decaying library, we discovered a dusty tome that spoke of ancient rituals and dark incantations. It hinted at a way to break free from the old school's grasp, but the price it demanded was steep. Desperation drove us to attempt the ritual, and as we chanted the incantations in the flickering candlelight, the very walls of the old school seemed to tremble. But just as we believed we might escape, the ritual backfired. unleashing a malevolent force that tore through the old school like a hurricane. The old school crumbled around us, and we were engulfed in a vortex of darkness. When I awoke, I was alone in the forest, the old school nothing but a pile of rubble in the distance. Mark and Lisa were gone, lost to the depths of the old school's malevolence. To this day, I am haunted by the memories of that fateful night, and I cannot help but wonder if Mark and Lisa are trapped in some nightmarish realm within the old school. The forest that was once our escape is now a prison, and I am left with the chilling knowledge that some mysteries are better left unsolved.